In the third round of the Champion Chess Tour finals, Duda faced Giri. And this is a game that you're going to enjoy watching because Duda sacrificed a bishop, which Anish gave back. Then Duda did a mating attack, starting with the rook sacrifice and ending with the queen sacrifice. That too, a pretty queen sacrifice. So let me take you through the game. Duda started with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. So this is the Ragozin defense in Queen's Gambit declined. Takes, bishop g5, knight d7, rook c1, h6, bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, and knight e4. So Giri is preparing to exchange of the bishop or just to take on c3 and kind of weaken the pawn structure of white. Queen b3, giving extra support to c3 and attacking the bishop. Takes, knight b6, heading to the c4 square. Here, e3, developing the bishop, and h5. Is there a threat in this position? Is Anish Giri making a threat? You would see that there is a threat. h4 is going to trap the bishop, right? But Duda plays a very nice move here. He plays c4, allowing h4, and Anish Giri plays it, trapping the bishop. Bishop d5, f6. So what is Duda's compensation for the piece? Duda takes on d5. So his compensation is he's going to have nice central pawns, and black's king is not going to be safe at all. So what happened was takes, bishop b5, and king f8. Anish could have played bishop d7, in which case Duda would just play knight into e5, and let's say pawn h3 or castling would be a mistake because of bishop take d7 and then there is d6. And it's going to be very tough for Giri to defend this because Rook also jumps in to the attack. So that is why Anish played king f8. Knight takes e5. And here, what is the best move for black? What would you do here if you're black? You have to understand it's a piece down for white, but black's king is not safe. Giri could have played queen takes d5. In that case, there would be knight g6 and Duda would win back some material. This was the best option for Giri because king g7, what would happen? Knight into h8, king into h8, or just queen to b3, pawn b3, c6 attacking the bishop, bishop d3, and bishop f5. This position is playable, but it still looks good for Duda, right? For example, f3, knight d6, e4, and the pawns start rolling. You will get the knight, but the central pawns are a bit too much. King f2 and then rook e1, and the pawns will keep going forward. Which is why Anish Giri played king g7, not queen d5, and then bishop d3 by Duda, attacking the knight d6, and castles. So again, the combination here is the safety of the king and an extra pawn, two pawns actually, even though the pawns are doubled, and an active rook, an active knight, and a queen also looks good, bishop also looks good, and if f4, the rook will also be active. So activity of the pieces and king safety. That's a compensation here for Duda. Now, g4. Anish Giri goes for some sort of an attack. g3 or h3 being in the mind. f4. Of course, if you take en passant, then the rook would be active. Anish wouldn't want that. Anish plays rook f8. F e4. Preparing f5. Pawn g3 and f5. Cutting off the bishop from the side. Now the queen can enter or the rook can enter. So all these things are possible. Bishop can go back, queen f3, or rook f4, rook g4. So this looks very grim for Anish. But the way that Duda is going to finish the game off is mind-boggling. It's really nice. Queen g5 was played by Giri. Giri gave up the c7 pawn. So what would have happened if he didn't do queen g5? So for example, if you play move like bishop d7, what would happen? Rook f4 will come, and then bishop b1, queen f3. And it's going to be tough. That is why Anish decided, let me give up the c pawn, put the king back, at least the queen will be defending here. And there'll be some threats in the air. Duda takes with check, king g8, and now bishop b1. The queen comes for the defense or for the attack. Queen f3 is also coming. Queen d2, queen f3. So why did he bring the queen here to d2? If he plays a move like, let's say, a6, oh, that would hang a piece. Let's say, what can he do here? He's almost in 6-1. Let's say rook b8. What will white do if that was the case? Takes, takes, and then rook f3 would happen. This would be a nice position. Knight on d4 is not really a problem. Oh, bishop is there protecting it. So that is why he brought the queen to d2, allowing queen f3. Bishop takes f5. Anish gives back a piece, the piece that Duda sacrificed, just to play queen takes d4. He gives back the material. Duda has now one pawn up. Anish cannot really take the knight. So king h1, Anish can't take the knight because then the queen would enter. The queen takes knight, queen enters, and it's going to be mate. Right? It just mate. Queen moves and queen h7 mate. So the knight is fine. Rook c8 was played by Anish. And now comes the brilliant rook sacrifice. Look at the guts of this guy. Rook g7. It's very tough to play a move like that, yeah? But what is the point? It's beautiful because he is making the king come up to play f6. Bishop would be active, knight would be active, and the queen would roar into the game. So Anish has to take. He takes it. And now f6 comes. You can't take the pawn because the queen would take back. King h6 was played by Anish. What would have happened if he went to g8? Then comes bishop h7. King takes and the queen comes in with tempo. And it's all over. Queen g6, king moves, and queen g7 mate. Yeah. That's what would have happened if king g8 was played. So Giri plays king h6. Knight g4 check, king g5. And now if you are white, what will you do here? You know that you're winning. The king is getting roasted, 100 down. But how do you finish your opponent off? Duda had the answer. He threw down queen f5 on the board. What a move. Giri has to take it. What is the point? Rook takes, king g6, and now rook f4 is not going to be enough. Winning back the queen is not enough. You're down in exchange and there's mate. So you can't really win back the queen. The idea was rook e5, and here Anish Giri resigned because it's mate coming up soon. Can you figure out how to checkmate your opponent after king f7? White to play and checkmate in 3 moves. You can try to pause the video and see. What would have happened was rook e7, king g8, knight h6, and rook h7 mate. A very nice mate. So that is why after rook e5, Giri didn't play on, he resigned. He could have let the checkmate happen because the guy played so beautifully. He gave up a bishop, then a rook, and then a queen, and then won the game in this fashion. So that means that Duda, with this brilliant victory, is sitting on 9 out of 9 from 3 rounds, along with Magnus. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video and please subscribe to my channel for more such content.